Well, hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Tru-Turf Super Series. Very special guest tonight, our first member from the United States of America joining us on the Super Series. And I would like to welcome Noah Goldstein from Old Sandwich Golf Club. Noah, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Well, what a wonderful facility you've got. I haven't had the chance to visit in person, but a very top facility, one of the world's top 100 golf courses, around the 50s, I think it's been rated at. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about the golf course?
Opened in 2004, golf-only facility designed by Bill Ben Crenshaw, so one of the best, modern architectural duos. Just a truly special piece of property, built on really excellent pure sand soil. We just have a great place for golf and a really beautiful part of the country as well.
It's Eastern Massachusetts area, home to some really great golf courses, but yours ranks well and truly up there with the best of them in that location. You've been lucky enough to be there for 11 years, I think it is, roughly, and have recently taken over the top role as golf course superintendent. How's the 11 years been? It's obviously been a great facility to work at.
Yeah, it's been great. So 10 years as the senior assistant, about almost a year now as the head superintendent. Truly a special place to work, from the senior management, ownership group, club president on down. It's just a really great place to be. You get treated really well, taken care of, and get to be in a beautiful place to live in the country. So it's been a great time here. I've been here since I was 22 years old. And
absolutely.
No plans on leaving anytime soon, that's for sure.
Not ready to walk out the door just yet. And why would you want to as well? As I said, I've been able to look at it from a bit of a distance, doing some research for this, and people just tell a great story about the work that Core and Crenshaw have done on what was a really good piece of land anyway. Right. Tell me a bit more about what makes the golf course unique for you.
So obviously great land, pure sand. So it's a great medium for growing grass. Bill and Ben, when they built the property, they really didn't have to move very much land at all. So it's just golf in its natural environment. The golf course has only been here for less than 20 years, but looks like it has been here for 100. It just blends very seamlessly with the surrounding land. Really did an awesome job incorporating the natural landscape into the game of golf. It's really fun. It's a little different than a lot of golf courses in the United States because the ground game for golf comes into play here a lot. So I think that's like unique and special. So really fun. Our grass types really, are good for that, and the way we try to manage it, good for that as well.
So what type of grass have you got across the facility?
So fairways, fine fescue, colonial bent was the original seeding mix. A little bit of creeping bent mixed in there now, just because of some, cart traffic, trying to keep things going.
Yeah.
And then tees, that same mix, and greens are a pure bent grass mix of 6 or 7 different varieties to make it look very mottled and look like it's been here for a very long time. So
I was talking to the Superintendent Royal Adelaide Golf Club a couple of episodes ago, and similarly there they have a mix of bent grass varieties in the greens to give that mottled approach. And as you say, I suppose as it's being only opened in 2004, and it just looks like such a natural piece of the landscape, they're really going for that look of it has been there forever.
Absolutely, and they really achieved it.
Well, they've got a great track record of, and wonderful design team anyway, but a great track record of using the existing land. I know we've got a Barnbougle Dunes down here in Australia that done some work on it as well, but not a lot of dirt was moved in that as well. But just, I suppose, it adds such a great feature to the course when you can just use that natural land and topography to make such a great golf experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So 45 holes. How big's the team, and what goes into the challenge of managing a facility like this?
So we're actually only 18 holes.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yep, 18 holes. Actually 19. We have an extra par 3 as a bet settling hole.
Yeah.
Kind of fun. Just an interesting, cool little par 3. But yeah, so 18-hole facility, golf only, as I mentioned before. So we don't have any tennis, no pool, none of the country club amenities, just pure golf. So we have a team of about close to 30 taking care of the property. 55 acres of maintained turf, which is, on the lower end of maybe how much turf we maintain, but that's because we have very minimal maintained rough. 35 acres of fairway and only about 10 acres of total rough. So
yeah,
we can mow our rough in 4 hours in one single day, which is different for the United
absolutely.
States.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's a lot of superintendents out there who would be quite envious of the ability to mow the rough in 4 hours.
I think so, yeah.
But then I suppose that provides you with a great opportunity then for the available time to maintain those playing surfaces.
Yeah, it does. It's also, it takes a lot of work to maintain a property like this and to achieve that look of being natural. And we work really hard to achieve the natural look, and people don't necessarily realize that still takes a lot of work.
Absolutely.
You're not just letting things brown out and pushing things to the edge, requires a lot of hand watering, a lot of hand work, and, getting the bunker faces shaved down, and you know what I mean, you can't do it with a rotary mower, you have to do it with a weed whacker, and those little hand touches, require a good amount of labor to get it done.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And that's the attention to detail, I suppose, certainly at a facility that you're managing there, and others around the world as well, that comes into presenting that course as the members, especially in this instance, would want to see it as they come out to play.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. I did see on your LinkedIn profile that you do say that you're dedicated to providing conditions or favourable playability in a responsible and a sustainable manner. Tell us a little bit more about that. What's that mindset, and how do you put it into action?
But I think sustainability is a huge goal of my career. Coming from my childhood, just my father ran an organic and natural foods cooperative for most of his career in life. So that whole sustainability and being, gentle on the environment is very important to me. That's not to say that I'm not willing to use, some products. We have to, but I just want to use them in a responsible manner. And want to be more responsible in my water usage, fertilizer usage, chemical usage. So, allowing the turf to brown out, as, pushing the water to the limit, the playability aspect, letting it be firm and fast, and limited fertilizer, limited chemical, just trying to use them in the most sustainable and, reasonable manner as possible. So, huge goal of mine is to just, continue to reduce inputs to the point where you can and still achieve a wonderful product at the same time.
Absolutely. So you doing a range of testing over the course of the year then to look at the balances that you got about that, looking at sustainability, but the use of other applications to get in. Is there a range of active testing you're doing all the time just to see the tolerances in the turf?
Yeah, I mean, soil testing, stuff like that, and just and figuring out where you can push it a little bit and where you can be a little leaner, and just trying to make the turf a little bit tougher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes allowing some of the weaker varieties to die back a little bit and let the tougher grass take over, and just kind of trying to manage to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And being a seaside course, we've obviously seen the Open Championship just being played, and how that was browned out, as you talk about, and sometimes we do like to think that brown is good in golf rather than being this lush playing surfaces all the time. So it is really nice to see that approach, especially with a location of the course. And once again, I suppose where you are located in the United States as well, there's quite a degree of variance in weather conditions from the winter to where you're finding yourself now in the summer.
Yeah, so in New England, part of the United States, we have the four seasons, and we really have the 4 seasons. So we have the extremes on both ends. Really can get really cold and snowy in the wintertime. At times it can get really hot and humid in the summertime. So this summer we actually just went through probably one of the most difficult weather summers that I've ever experienced. Just a lot of high heat, and it didn't rain we got practically zero rain for at least an entire month. So it's definitely a year to figure out how far you can push things.
Absolutely.
And water restrictions from the state, I try to be very judicious anyway, but still even restricted by the state as to what we're allowed to put down. And we're going to find out, I think we've done a really really good job keeping it going, but we're going to find out how far you can push it.
So what do you do for water? Do you have water on site? I know you just said you had to be managed by the state. Is that through allocations, or how are you getting your water?
Yeah, so we draw from an underground aquifer from one single well. We have really good, clean water. We have a lot of water. Like, the amount of water is not an issue. However, we're still permitted by the state as to how much we're allowed to draw per year. So I do have a permit that I have to follow. And then if the state gets put into drought restrictions, they will tell us, from that permit, the percentage of that permit that we're actually allowed to use at that specific time. So, even though I have one number right at this moment, we're in a severe drought, technically not allowed to use it. And I'm all for that. I'm absolutely following it to the letter of the law and doing, like I said, seeing how far you can push it a little bit, and relying a lot on the hoses and hand watering, and that's a lot of work, but we're hopefully almost through it. Come August 15th is a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel for us.
Is it right? Well, that's not far away, a couple of days away, and then
a few days away.
Hopefully life gets a little bit easier. So as you say, certainly with that hand watering, it does play a major role, or major challenge, I suppose, for the team as well. Longer hours and a whole range of things that they need to be doing to keep the water on the course.
Right. Yeah. And being respectful of our guys' time, and what I mean, and their home lives is very important to me. And this year, had to kind of get creative to find ways to get people some time off and some time to relax and all that. It's been a lot of work, a lot of time dragging the hose around, and but like I said, almost the light at the end of the tunnel, and we'll try to get everybody a chance to decompress a little bit, hopefully soon.
That's right. So maybe delve a little bit into the past now, and obviously there was that family connection. Is that what got you into the turf industry in the start, or what made you get into this game?
So playing golf is really what got me into it.
Okay.
My father played golf when I was a kid, and I just always wanted to do whatever he was doing. So he was out playing golf with his friends. I wanted to go out and play golf with him, and so he kind of got me into playing golf when I would say probably 7 or 8 years old. And then I really started to pick it up in my early teens. Got a junior membership to a local semi-private course, close to my hometown, and started playing golf pretty much every day. And then once I was 15, kind of realized that I needed some money to support my snack shack habit, and asked so it was a 9-hole semi-private, of course, the superintendent was also the golf pro. I asked him if I could have a job. He, put me on the staff right away. My first job was just, picking the range and watering the flowers and stuff around the clubhouse. And then when I turned 16, they asked if I wanted to be part of the grounds crew, and kind of never looked back from there. Just joined the grounds crew once I was, old enough to start driving equipment. And that same superintendent / golf pro really kind of was my first turf business mentor, and kind of pushed me in the direction of becoming a golf course superintendent. I think he saw that I really enjoyed the work that we were doing, kind of talked to me about where I could potentially go to school to seek a degree in agronomy, and ended up at UMass Amherst. I got my degrees in turf management and plant, soil, and insect sciences, and did a couple of internships, and then ended up here when I was 22 years old. So
and a great place to land. And so those 10 years as an assistant, that was a great obviously a foundation for where you're going to in the future. But tell us a bit about the life as an assistant superintendent.
Yeah, so I had a good life as an assistant. The superintendent here that I just recently took over for, Sean McCormick, he was the very first employee at Old Sandwich Golf Club. He was the grow-in superintendent, so he had all the knowledge, all of the, he was here for it all. So I got to learn, from the man about, what went into building this place, what went into seeding it, all that stuff. So I really kind of got a leg up on all the agronomy stuff from him. He, really taught me a lot. That whole sustainability thing and stuff was important to me as a family connection, but he taught me about how you can kind of achieve that in the turf business. So, and then we worked really well together as a team to kind of figure out how to be even, how to do a better job and create a great playing surface and be sustainable. And he taught me a lot about how to manage crew, obviously, and how to respect people's time and home life and all that stuff. So he was definitely my 10 years working for him, my longest mentor in the turf business. And still, he's been retired for almost a year now, and I still talk to him pretty regularly just to check in, and you know what I mean. And
absolutely, and it's great that you can have that connection, and it goes beyond the time working together. And I suppose someone as a sounding board for you, maybe as you establish yourself now in this role, and then it provides you with that opportunity to make your own path. Being a golf superintendent now of a top 100 golf course in the world, how do you manage the expectations, I suppose, of a membership and a management team and an ownership team to continue to strive to improve the golf course and maintain that ranking, I suppose?
We're lucky here in the sense that we don't have any committees. No green committee. Myself as superintendent, I really only have to report to our general manager and the club president, definitely with some input from the ownership, but only really report to those two so far. You know what I mean? And I think they were this way with Sean too, is that they kind of trust us as the expert on agronomy and turf, and really take what we have to say about what's going on out there on the golf course, and let us run with it. Obviously, the expectation is pretty high, being a top 100 club, and the membership expects a lot. But truly great membership. They've so far, always really loved the product that we're putting out. They, are really on board with that. Brown is okay. You know what I mean? Because they love to see their ball bounce and roll for 100 yards down the fairway. So it might be entirely different than most of the other courses that they see here in the United States. But they're, fully on board and really love, like I said, to this point, the product that we're putting out there. So it's nice to have a supportive, other senior management and supportive membership to try to achieve a goal that everybody is, proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure there's probably quite a few envious superintendents out there to hear you say that, to have to deal with multiple committees and challenging conversations. So how do you then go with that smaller management structure, I suppose, and a relatively small, needy membership, but expecting a lot out of the golf course? How do you go in, I suppose, pushing that or promoting that turf expertise and educating the members on how the golf course plays or how it's conditioned?
I think just trying to be visible and trying to be open to conversations when they ask about it, and just being truly honest and open with the other senior management staff about what's going on out there, and then they help try to convey the message of what's going on out there. And just being here for almost 11 years now, I've gotten to know a good amount of the members, just even in that assistant role. So it's nice that the guys that are really interested in talking about it, happy to talk to them about what's going on out there, and it's always nice to hear them appreciative of what you're putting out there.
Very much so, very much so. And obviously, you said you got into this, I suppose, the turf industry by playing golf. Do you still get out and play as much as you can? And if so, what sort of handicap are you playing off? And I suppose hopefully getting a chance to play around your golf course as well and experience as a golfer.
Yeah, so I try to play a little bit still. My wife and I had our first child almost 3 years ago now, so that has really cut into the golf game. But I still try to play when I can, even if it's just a few holes here and there. Try to play my own golf course. It's definitely, walking your own golf course and playing golf is you get to see it from a different perspective. So I feel like that is definitely an important part of the job, even if it's just 4 or 5 holes here and there. You know what I mean? Try to mix it up, play 4 or 5 different holes as much as possible. Handicap these days has been climbing a little bit since we had our child. I think I'm up to about a 12 right now. My best playing days, I think I was down to like an 8, when I was in high school. So, like a decent player, but, I think the superintendent role is for me. Definitely a good enough player to understand what we're trying to achieve out there, for the golfers, but definitely wasn't going to be a golf pro or anything like that.
No. I think you picked where you are. You picked a great decision to pick with the direction you wanted to go. But as you say, it's talking to a number of superintendents who do play the game, and obviously there's some that don't, but they certainly do. It does allow you when you're out there to provide that insight, or I suppose experience what the golfer is experiencing, and use that to help your direction of maintaining the golf course, or finding spots, I suppose, that may need more attention if you've hit the ball over there, rather than driving past in your vehicle, taking a closer inspection of the ground.
And I think we're lucky here that, I have a really, really strong crew, really excellent assistant superintendents, and all of my assistants love to play the game of golf. A bunch of the guys on the crew love to get out there and play. Old Sandwich as a club really loves to see us out there playing. We definitely get to, get access out here, and it's really nice to have everybody else, just about everybody else on the staff get out there, and they see things that I don't see. And, they tell me the next day, like, hey, I was out playing golf and I saw this, and it's really helpful to have them interested in it. And, especially the assistants, if they are really into the game of golf, I think it really helps them in their careers be able to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and helps them to be hopefully successful superintendents in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. We value your support as a customer of Tru-Turf. And how does rolling play a part in your maintenance practices at the club?
Yeah, so rolling greens is a huge part of our maintenance practice. I'd say we roll, probably 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. I'm more likely to skip mowing and just roll than I am to do the opposite of that. I really believe that, just the consistency, green speeds that you can achieve out of rolling are, obviously you have to mow your turf.
Yeah, absolutely.
But sometimes, being able to just roll, just really, you get what you need out of it. You get the green speeds, you get the consistency out of it. And, you're able to, sometimes if you're, skipping a mow, you're able to give your turf a little bit of a break too.
What do you, I was speaking to Paul Larson at Royal St George's, and he's now finding his nirvana of leaving the leaf longer and still getting the speed out of his greens. And I suppose, especially at this time of year in the Northern Hemisphere of summer, it's a little bit easier to do that. But are you finding, obviously by skipping mowing, you are able to leave that leaf a little bit longer, and it gives it a bit of a rest, I suppose, but still then the smoothness and the trueness in the surface is achieved through the rolling.
Absolutely. And I think my greens mowing height is slightly higher than, a lot of people maybe around here. And just through like consistent, rolling, we're able to absolutely achieve green speeds that we want without having to, cut it super low and beat it up, with the mowers.
Is there a certain speed you're looking to maintain, or is it an expectation from the
I think there's a general stimp meter speed that you're looking for. However, in my 11 years here, I think we've pulled the stimp meter out like 3 times. So it's not like, we're not having to post our speeds. It's just like trying to get to a consistent speed pretty much on a daily basis. And, nobody is pushing us to tell you, what are the greens rolling today? They're just, as long as they're consistent on a daily basis, everybody's pretty happy. The only times we've ever pulled the stimp meter out is when an intern or an assistant is like, hey, I've never seen the stimp meter. Can you show me how it works? And, so pulled it out this year just because one of the assistants had never even seen it before.
Right, okay. Well, and I think that message about consistency, and that's what the golfer's after, isn't it? They just want a consistent roll. And if it's consistent the whole way around, they can have a great day putting because they know they're not having to suddenly have one that's going to get away from them or come up too short. So, and I think that's a great message around consistency.
Yeah.
What's your favourite part of the golf course? Have you got a favourite hole or a favourite part that really sticks out for you?
I do have a favorite hole. I think the 16th hole, the approach and green on the 16th hole is my favorite, just because I talked a little bit about that ground game coming into play, and I think that that's the most interesting approach and green for the ground game. It has a nice downhill approach into a green, which is a super long par 4, but you could hit your approach shot 70 yards short and just watch the ball trundle down and end up pin high, and I played, I want to say 2 weeks ago, played a few holes by myself, and I putted from 100 yards off the green and just watched it roll down the hill. It was just it's like watching a roller coaster. So really fun approach.
Absolutely. And that
really highlights that ground game.
Yeah, it certainly, I think, once again, it's a great message out there as well. And we're very fortunate here in Australia with the Sandbelt and other courses around the place where the ground game is very important. It's not all about landing on a target golf and hitting it to a softish green. It's about where you need to land the ball to get it to its whole. It's the journey, I suppose, rather than the destination of getting it to there. And we saw, I think, Rory McIlroy, I think I saw in the practice round, I think it might have been, or even in the I think it was the Open Champions event that they had to celebrate the 150th Open on the second hole. And St Andrews hit his putter as his approach shot on the second hole, I think, from a similar distance to what you did the other day. And I just suppose it shows you how many different ways there are to play the game and get the ball in the hole at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think that, just the being built on pure sand and being able to push it, with the firm and fast, and achieving nice, firm, consistent greens. Part of that being with the rollers. Sometimes trying to fly it into the green here is just really not the best play.
Yeah.
And trying to fly it a little bit short of the green or use a putter, on your approaches and stuff. It's just the smarter play, and you're going to be more successful with it. So, I think it's fun. It's, it's just not something that you necessarily, playing golf as a kid in the United States and stuff, you don't necessarily get to experience that. So, this place is just truly special for that, and it's a really fun round of golf.
And that's what I'm really pleased to hear in this conversation, the fun. I can see it in your face as well as you're talking, that it's obviously a very enjoyable place to work, but the enjoyment is expanded by that ability to have that fun on the golf course and find a different way to play a hole each time you go out.
Yeah, I think you really got to think about it. I think sometimes people come and play it for the very first time and they might get beat up a little bit because it's not easy. It's a challenging golf course, and you might have to play it a couple times, to really start to understand, the best way to play the property, and you know what I mean, and start really enjoying the way it's made to be played.
That's right. With the course being relatively young, I suppose, in the course of things, does the design team has been back, or how do you go and manage the maintenance of the course to maintain the design philosophy, I suppose, of the golf course?
So, Bill and Ben have not been back a whole lot. So, talking about that former superintendent, Sean McCormick, he was very close with Bill Core. So, I think that Bill put a lot of trust in him over his 19-year tenure here, that he was going to maintain the original design intent as much as possible, and be able to maintain the golf course in a way that was going to really highlight what they did architecturally. And I think luckily for me, I got to work for him for 10 years, and hopefully have a good base of knowledge in what is expected of us. We have seen Bill back recently. Last year, he was here just walking the course with an ownership from another club that he's going to be working with. Just trying to kind of give them an idea of like design intent and how things should be maintained, you know what I mean, for their course in the future. But we really haven't changed much of anything over the years that we've been open. So, we eliminated one small bunker, on one hole. It was just a little bit too challenging for the membership. And, when Bill Core was here last year, he was pretty understanding of that. He even said, I think that, when I built that, I wasn't sure if it was going to be, too tough or not. So we did eliminate that one bunker. But aside from that, added a couple tees here and there, some, a few more like forward or middle tees, and a couple back tees here and there, but really haven't made any crazy changes to the golf course. So I think if, in the future, if we needed to make a big change, we would definitely want to consult, that design team to do so. But as of now, no plans to make any big changes. And as far as I know, no need to make any big changes.
Yeah. So the immediate plans now are to get through the summer, a few days away, hopefully, from the tipping point where it becomes a little bit easier. So And then I didn't ask before, but obviously, as we said, the different varying conditions. Is there a period of closure up there with, I suppose it depends on the amount of snow, or do you actually close for a period of time up there?
Yeah, we're closed for about 4 months of the year, every
Right.
year, no matter what,
Mhm.
even if we don't have a lot of snow. Just, a large portion of our membership goes south,
Yep.
down to Florida or Arizona or something like that.
Mm.
And it's, some golf courses in this area will stay open, for the whole winter when they can, if there's no snow. But, the type of club that we are, and, our membership, uh, we don't stay open. We're closed for 4 months. So it's a nice time to get some project work done.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
when we get a chance to take some vacation time,
Mm.
decompress a little bit. So yeah, so we're closed from about Thanksgiving, so end of November every
Yep.
year until, beginning to middle of April.
Mm.
So we're closed for our serious winter months.
Yeah, yeah. And as you say, though, it's a great opportunity. Then the golf course is still there. It's still going to need to be looked after, but an opportunity then when it is closed and quiet to be able to get those various projects done that sometimes in a busy summer period get pushed to the back.
Right. Yeah. So, a little bunker work, a little drainage
Mm.
work here and there, whatever needs to get done. Some tree work here and there. We do have a lot of trees on property. So some trees have to come down or get
Yeah.
trimmed or whatever every year. And yeah, so a good chance to get out there with no golfers and get some stuff ready for the next year and prepare for the next year. And then there's about 9 of us that stay on staff
Yeah.
all year long to get those projects and whatnot done and get prepped for the next year. And then, unfortunately, we have to lay off, a good amount of staff, but we have a lot of guys that return every year. A really
Yeah.
nice core of guys that return to the staff every year.
Oh,
So,
that's excellent. Well,
Yeah.
look, I've taken a lot of your time, and I really appreciate the conversation and telling us a little bit about Old Sandwich and your role and your path in that career journey that you're on. We wish you all the best for the rest of the summer, and thank you very much for joining us on the Tru-Turf Super Series.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Great, thank you very much.